Good morning, everyone. Dave Bush here with Kansas Sports HQ, episode 23, leading the way with the Valley Center Mud Daubers. We'll have Coach Chris Browning joining us here in a little while, but let me introduce Pastor Pete. Welcome to our studio and welcome to the show. As always, Sheldon Howell and Sean Cutler. Guys, how's the morning going?
Cruising.
Better than I deserve.
Yeah, really good. I was disappointed when I got here because I thought we'd all just be drinking like protein shakes. I didn't know.
I mean, there are protein shakes in the fridge.
Didn't know what to expect. So
Yeah.
that was good.
Yeah, this morning I had a conversation with my dad about what to do for Thanksgiving, and I was like, should we try our luck at smoking a prime rib? I'm not a big fan of turkey. That's been...
I like the dark meat.
Yeah, I like turkey, but not all the time. What are you guys' thoughts on that since Thanksgiving's a week away?
I eat whatever's put in front of me, typically. I don't ask too many questions.
I'm all about whatever you want to do. I think the traditional stuff needs to go. So smoke that prime rib.
Smoke that prime rib, yeah. I might have to head on down to Stroot Locker to see what I can come up with out of them or whatnot, and then bring some back, little taster.
Yeah.
Prime rib and eggs for breakfast.
Oof,
That'd be
Cheesy
good.
potatoes.
Cheesy potatoes?
Yeah,
Oh.
Is that your favorite?
that probably is my favorite.
Yeah.
With
I'm
like
a big potato guy, too.
Yeah, with the corn flakes, hash brown
Oh,
style,
yeah.
of course, not the scalloped.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like them.
Not like the au gratin style.
Yeah, no, I like that.
You want them like fried in butter and then
Oh yeah,
all the good stuff.
the more fat, the better. Like in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
That's
love
fair.
potatoes. I'm pretty sure borderline every home cooked meal I have potatoes with it.
Mm.
I love potatoes.
And
Not
then-
you though.
Not me. Yeah, that's I remember the days.
We got a real life,
Remember
real
those
life
days?
carnivore over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Oh yeah,
had
you.
those since I was a baby.
How long you been doing the
Potato,
carnivore
potato,
diet?
About a year and a half.
How's it going for you?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, my potatoes, I'd probably just go out and get a mess of squirrel probably and just fry that up,
There you
and
go.
then that'd be about the same. But yeah, it's great.
Nice. Any new foods like meat wise that you're trying that's different?
Not really. I mean, we eat pretty much anything. So, I mean, if you name it and we can get our hands on it, we're going to eat it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now is
So-
fish even an option?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So any animal based product, so even butter, milk, that kind of stuff, as long as you don't get a lot of preservatives and all that other garbage in it, you want it as clean as you can get it. But yeah, any animal product, cheese, you want to stick with like aged cheese. This is really dumb, but otherwise it has like potato starch in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you want to stay away from that kind of stuff if you can.
Because of the stick function and
Yeah.
it's being sticky and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's
Just
why.
depends on how hardcore carnivore you want to be.
Yeah.
How
So-
hardcore are you?
We're pretty hardcore. I would say the one thing that we don't do is we still drink coffee. So to some hardcore carnivores, that would put us in like
Just
the
black coffee?
soft. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. So today's episode is going to be Valley Center Mud Daubers. We know it's, coming around to be the winter time, and, summer collegiate recruiting is off to the races, and teams are trying to recruit players to come play for the summer and, put together a roster that can compete in their leagues. And the Valley Center Mud Daubers are one of them. They were one of the top teams in the league last year, made a deep run in the Summer Ball Showdown. And yeah, so Sean is an assistant coach. Pete is a host family super fan and the team's pastor. So guys, let's kind of talk about where those align with the team goals and how all of that comes together.
Yeah, sure. So me and Chris, when we met and I joined the staff, it was a pretty good relationship that kind of flourished there, and we were pretty open about our faith. So as we went along there, we were trying to figure out ways to, our ultimate goal as Christians is to honor and glorify God. So we wanted to figure out a way to get these boys something that I guess can first of all, take their mind off of baseball a little bit, because I mean, at this age in college, baseball's their whole life, and we'll get into the baseball stuff, of course. But until Chris is on, we can kind of get into Pete's side of things. But we wanted a way to these boys to have some, if they had questions, to be answered about life, about faith, and ultimately, like, all your eggs in the baseball basket, a lot of times they don't hatch, they break, and you're going to end up hurting. I know that from my experience, and I know a lot of people, only the top percent make it all the way. So, we figured we'd give these guys who are going through college, which is very big time in their lives, a lot of different opinions, a lot of different viewpoints being taught to them, and their whole childhood and their worldview is changing. So we just wanted to give them an opportunity to experience God's word a little bit. So I've been going to Pete's church, Glen Park, for at this time, as we came into the second season, about almost a year. And so then I think Chris kind of had the idea of getting Pete on board as doing some Bible studies with the team and such. So I'll kind of turn it over to Pete here, kind of how Chris kind of and maybe a little bit of me facilitating that, but kind of approached you, and as we kind of went along to game plan that for these guys in the summer.
Yeah, like give us like the origin story on that, like how all that came together and how it's working now.
Yeah, so I think it was 3 seasons ago, towards the end of the season, Chris had asked if I could come out and just say something, speak to the team or whatever. And I think his goal was originally like have multiple guys come in, speak. And I just said, hey, I'll take that position and let me run with it. And so I spoke, I think, to the team one time that first year. And then the goal for year 2 and 3 was how do we address practical issues that these guys are dealing with from a biblical worldview, and how do we make it so that they don't have to do it. Like, that was kind of the goal. Like, this isn't mandatory by any stretch of the imagination. And so it's just kind of like laying out here, this is what we're going to offer. If you guys want it, it's here. And so the first year, like I said, it was just kind of a brainchild of Chris to get guys to come in and speak. I think he struggled to get guys to commit. And so when the second year came around, we really started having conversations about, let's do a weekly thing with these guys. And we do it at a home game, and we do it in the press box, and it's open. If you want to come, great. If you don't, no worries. We try to get together, I don't know, probably 3 times a summer, just like as a whole group. Yep. Either it's, at my house with, pool party or whatever, we go do a cookout or something like that. But it's evolved certainly over the last couple of years for sure. I think year 2, which was the first full year with the team, was way better than this last season. That's just my own feeling. But I think that was from my own, like, I had a lot of stuff going on this summer. So my commitment to being at every game and in their face and getting to know them was not as good as I wished it would have been. So
fair enough. Well, first and foremost, we appreciate, 1, being here, but then 2, the stuff that you've done with the team thus far. Because I know that that's, time off of, other things for you guys and all the different things that you have going on. So, I'd like to, say that the team really does appreciate that, because I think it's something that, as the organization, we're trying to offer, kind of like you said, an option for guys, in being able to offer them something that is different than what they're getting in other places, which I think is very important, and passionate about, everybody that's involved with it. So appreciate the time in being able to give your heart in that aspect, because that's, kind of what that takes, is being able to get out there. I remember when Chris and I talked about it originally, and, he kind of brought it to my attention on, what do you think about this? What are we going to do? Et cetera, et cetera. And, just with the world that we live in this day and age, we get guys from all across the world that are going to come play on this team, which is awesome. And we want to make sure that, one, we're creating a culture that we are proud of, a culture that, we want people to be a part of, but then also kind of walking that, beginning line of like, hey, we're not trying to push anybody a certain direction. And we want this to be something where it's an open invitation, where it's like, hey, if you pique an interest, if you have an interest, we're not making this team mandatory, like, you can't play for us unless you do it type mentality. And, just keeping the baseball side of it, but then also still trying to push in a good direction, so it is kind of it's kind of a fine line. But I think that you guys have done a really good job at that, because the culture of the team, which is what we pay attention to the most, at least from our positions and what we're trying to do. I think that Valley Center has become kind of the poster child for the league representation, right? Like that's the goal for us with all of the other teams, is to try and create that kind of culture where these guys care about each other, they're willing to listen, they're open-minded, they come closer together as a team, as they're participating with all of the different things that you're offering. And so it's just it's a really good thing, but it's also just how do you get that off the ground, right? Like how do you get that started and get it going? Which everything has challenges, and so I feel like you guys have done a really good job at that, and being there for the players, and because like you said, baseball is something that a lot of these guys put their heart and soul into, and then they get a little confused at points in times. If they're not successful at baseball, they almost feel like they're not going to be successful in life. And it's like, whoa, pause, wait a minute. This life is much bigger than that. And, like there's just a lot of principles that can be taught through what you guys are doing. And I think you guys are doing a really good job at it. So it's been fun to kind of watch that develop, and be able to be super inviting for the players. I think that's the one thing that I've seen, like just from the pictures and seen the stuff that have, like the culture of the team has really kind of developed, and I think that's awesome, and I think it's really cool to watch that flourish.
The camaraderie is unmatched.
Yeah.
The last 2 or 3 years, the camaraderie that this has brought to the team is pretty awesome. I mean, I think I met you on one of those nights.
Yeah.
I was up in the press box trying to get the internet working, and the camera and everything set up, and all the players started roaming in, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I finished what I was doing, and I chose to sit down and listen and be a part of that. And Apples looked over at me and he goes, "You should be here more." and I was like, if I could, I would.
Yeah.
But the honest truth is, Valley Center has pterodactyls for mosquitoes.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And those mosquitoes love me.
Yeah.
And I don't love them.
Yeah.
They leave welts on me. But, Valley Center is not too far from us. It's just usually you guys have everything taken care of, and I'm not needed as often.
Hypoallergenic dog.
There you go.
It's allergic to everything.
There you go.
No, those mosquitoes are pretty terrible, though. Yeah, so we're getting ready to get Chris on, I'm sure, here in a few minutes. Yeah, I think ultimately the whole goal of it all, like we kind of reiterated, but was to give these boys and what we believe is a source of truth.
Yep.
I mean, I was in the same boat just a few years ago, and it's like you're going through life, you're growing up, you're becoming a man. Like people say you're a man at 18, you're not. Some people aren't men till they're 30, some people aren't men till they're 40, but you're growing up and you're trying to grasp onto truth, and in the last 5 to 8 years have taught us anything. We don't know what truth is unless we have the word of God. So trying to give these guys an outlet for that, and seeing them kind of come around it, and be good with it. And I think with what you were saying, again about baseball, I think God's will is with baseball isn't always baseball is your life. Most of the time it's not. It's what can I teach you through baseball that's going to translate over to the rest of your life. How many times can you fail and get back up again? How many times can you learn from your mistakes and move on? How many times can you come together with the next guy over there in the foxhole and battle back? And how can you manage everything else that's going on the field when you almost have control over none of it, and yet it's still going to be a win and loss that might get pinned on you in the end of the day, depending on one play or depending on how you pitch or depending on how you hit. So I think it's really difficult sport mentally. So giving them that opportunity to escape from that for a little bit and get back to life, and you know, make sure their life isn't all about baseball, because it's a long, lonely, tough road if your life's all about baseball.
For sure. I remember Carly when we had her on. Don't quote me because I don't remember her exact words that she said, but when she was talking about like her journey with softball and just baseball, softball, very similar in that aspect. But she had talked about how God's word, you know, God, Jesus, everything was the constant that she was needing to be focusing on, but she was focusing on softball more. And so like when she made that transition from a mental standpoint and started to put more energy, and again, I'd have to go back and listen to it, but the way she verbalized that made a lot of sense to me. I can't repeat it, but she just was putting all of her emotion and trust and into things that are unpredictable. Like it's just you just have no idea what's going to show up today, where it is, and that is somewhat of a constant when you look at it that way. But when she started trying to just improve her walk of life with Jesus, that's when she started to feel more complete and feel more whole on the softball field. And I think that is a very common thing that a lot of these guys go through, along with all of the different changes that are just happening, not only mentally, physically, where they're located, just all of the different pieces that go into college baseball. Like it's a wild road for a little bit. Like, those 4 to 5 years is just there's a lot of moving parts. And if you don't feel like you have good support systems to be able to try and cling on to that have proper values and good character and that type of stuff, like you can get down some dark roads pretty quick. And I think a lot of people, people that we come in contact with a lot, they find themselves, kind of alone at points in times. And so what you guys are trying to do there and how that is, evolving, I think that's definitely a good thing. And that's, where we want to pour energy into and try to keep that side of it growing, because I think it separates you guys. I mean, it really truly does. It makes you guys something that I think players, whether they know it or not, need that or seeking that, and it allows a different avenue, just another arm of the organization that can change people's lives. And I think that is the big picture goal with all the stuff we do, is to make these guys lives better and help them along, not only in the sport but just as young men. So I love that. I don't know where Chris is though, by the way. He's supposed to already be
We
on there.
definitely see these guys come in with all kinds of questions. I
Yeah.
mean, and it takes 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, so at that point, you're 3/4 of the way through the season before they're comfortable enough
Mhm.
to ask. But what I think that they've experienced is coaches that love them. And not to toot my own horn, but I mean, I love these guys. I invest, I'm pouring into these guys, and I think they get that, and they don't see that in a lot of places. And so when they finally feel like, I remember last year, one guy, it was towards the end, he's like, dude, I'm struggling with pouring bad. What do I do? And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's talk about that. That's
Right.
hard to say. I mean, it's, you
Oh,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Most guys struggle with porn their whole life and never say a word about
Right.
it. So when you're 19 or 20, that's a pretty big deal. So we see these guys coming in with struggles. Over the last couple of years, I've had 2 different guys who were super talented. They're like, I'm not playing ball no more. I'm just done. And it's like, wow, that's a big decision. Are you sure you want to work through this a little
Right.
bit? And so they're coming with lots of struggles. And so
Mhm.
to be able to connect with them in that way and give them an out of how do we talk about this, I think this has been really cool for me anyway.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Well, and when you think of it in like for time and perspective, they've known you for 30-ish days roughly, probably when that stuff's happening. So to have that much movement in someone's life, to be like, okay, I'm at least willing to be that vulnerable to have those style of conversations, says a lot, and it says a lot about the culture of the team and the culture of the stuff you guys are doing, because those are, some of that stuff, it's not like that just started, in May, and then they want to talk about it in
Yeah.
June, typically.
Right.
You're talking about years upon years of stuff. And, so to have that outlet like you're talking about that's a huge thing. Like you know, winning and losing isn't really even remotely on the scale when we're talking about like this style of stuff that we can collectively as a group provide for people walking through life. And I think that that's very special. I think that that's just something that it's not the stuff we're going to put on a flyer, like it's not the information about the team kind of a
Right.
thing, but it is definitely something in that family, mentality that you're getting out of this, Valley Center family. But so I love that. I don't know where Chris is, so we're just going to talk about Mud Daubers without him, and Sean can be his spokesperson, so that's okay. But for those of you just listening or just kind of popping in here at this point, God, dude, I'm just like getting blown up today. We're talking about the Valley Center Mud Daubers today. Chris Browning should be on at some point in time. The head coach with them. Just a little bit of tidbit on Chris. Chris has been coaching with me for, I think this will be his fifth year.
Fifth year.
So him and I introduced basically just through a phone call, just a random time he found, I think it was an ad online when he reached out to me from the ABCA website, and so reached out about trying to get a coaching position. I believe it was during the COVID time. It was right before COVID. We ended up canceling the season just because of the logistical nightmare it became. And one of the big reasons why he wanted to come that following year, or what we had talked about, was just how we kind of operate and what we do, and it just really made sense for him to kind of get here. And then we've built an awesome relationship since that point in time, and been able. Now he actually has moved here. He lives here in our community. He works for NCSA, so he's doing some recruiting service stuff for younger high school athletes that are trying to go to college. If he ever joins, I'll let him tell that story. But
He said one of his calls was going a little longer than
yeah,
expected.
typical. So he's doing it right now. He's out there recruiting
Yeah,
as we speak. But so he's doing a really good job. He's helping guys, along in the journeys, trying to, make it to the next level, continue to play, keep following their dreams, that type of stuff. So it's awesome work that he does. But being with the team for 5 years, he's seen a lot of different pieces. We've had, Valley Center has kind of evolved quite a bit over that 5-year time frame. They were the first team that I started on my own. So that was a little nerve-wracking going there. We needed a team. We talked about this a little bit on the KCLB podcast. That would have been in 2019,
18,
I think,
18,
maybe.
19 probably.
Yeah, 17, 18, somewhere in there. We're not good with the numbers on that stuff because it just all runs together. But so went there. There used to be an organization that played in Valley Center before I went there. They essentially, the city, they didn't kick them out, but they kind of kicked them out. They didn't ask them to come back, I think was really what it was. So they kind of just abused their relationship there. And we needed another team, and I knew they had a baseball field. So I went in there and pleaded with the city and the mayor and said, hey, just give me a chance, just take a shot. Like, I run things differently. I'm going to run it the right way. Just give me an opportunity to do it. And, I don't know if they just felt nice that day or what, but they eventually said yes. And so then we were kind of off and running. We've built an awesome host family community there. So we have, different host families from across the city of Valley Center and beyond that have been with the team, that have, are really the backbone of the organization, that allow us to bring in guys from everywhere. So cannot say thank you enough to the families that, trust us and allow us to kind of do what we do. But, with that, the community that's there, they play at a school field. So it's a little bit of a different format than some of our other teams that play at city fields. So it's, different structures there, and there's just different things that we got to jump through with the school districts and stuff. But, but we've had a great working relationship with the school district. They have an awesome all turf facility. One of the nicest facilities, I think, that is in the league overall. There's some improvements and some things that they could do out there, but I think that's just about everywhere. But City of Valley Center has been awesome. Minus the random rumors that come up that, we're leaving every year. I don't get that one. I get that every single year from somebody, but that we're not leaving this year, so we'll be there in 2026. So if anybody needs that for a clip, go ahead and clip it. But yeah, we're pretty excited about the organization. So we'll just kind of thanks, Chris, for being on and showing us all your info. Now we're going to turn it over to Sean. So Sean,
boom, there he is.
right on time.
Oh man, his ears
Right
were
on time.
burning. Ears were burning.
I was just laying you under the bus for about 3 minutes, just laying you in there. What's up, buddy?
No, not a whole lot. Just finished some client calls, so going well on that. What's up for
Okay.
you guys?
Real quick, Chris Browning joining us now. For those who may have been waiting for him, like we have,
I was building suspense.
head coach of the Valley Center Mud Daubers.
Well,
Awesome, Chris. Well, thanks for hopping on with us, bud. I was just kind of telling a little bit of a short, brief history of the Mud Daubers and kind of running into just kind of where we're playing at and, that type of stuff. But wanted to get you on so we could talk with you a little bit. If you want to go ahead and kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, your coaching history, your journey, your playing, a little bit of everything, and what's kind of led you to Valley Center to kick us off here.
well, not much of a background, but I'm originally from Lubbock, Texas, born and raised there. Played baseball at Sul Ross State University in West Texas. I was a catcher, I was a first baseman, and then once I was done doing that, I knew I wanted to be a college baseball coach, so took first job at Eastern New Mexico University in the Lone Star Conference. Coached there for a couple of years, and then once I was done there, next job I took was Oklahoma Panhandle, and coached there for a couple of years as well. Once I was done with that one, in between that is when I joined Valley Center for coaching summer ball. So coached the VC for 1 year, and then went back to Oklahoma Panhandle before then taking just a very brief stint in the fall at Friends University. And just once I moved on from there, I started working at a recruiting agency called NCSA that helps high school athletes get seen and recruited by college coaches, and still in the summer times doing the Valley Center thing. So finished my 4th year and on to year 5. So it's kind of about the extent of my background.
There you go, flying by.
His
5
accent
years.
really comes through on this, doesn't it? Little Texas twang.
You sound the same.
Lubbock. I'm from Lubbock.
There you go. Texas Tech doing good this year.
Well, go Red Raiders. We'll see. Still waiting for them
There it
to
is.
fall off real
Hey.
quick, but we'll see.
Nice, man. Well, obviously been in Valley for a little bit of time and, with the team and kind of the operations. So just kind of give a little bit of insight of kind of, your coaching philosophy behind what you're doing in the summer times. Obviously we're going to, share this and put stuff out there. So, tell people, kind of what's your coaching philosophy for summer? What are the things that you're trying to do? Because I think a lot of people that listen to our stuff don't really understand, number one, that collegiate summer baseball is even a thing. We still get that same conversation. They're like, why would you guys have college in the summer? The college is out of school in the summer. You know what I mean? Like they have no idea. So talk a little bit about, why you do what you do in the summer, what and how you go about your business in the summer, what's the purpose behind it, that type of stuff.
Well, when I was coaching, it was very important to set up guys with college summer leagues. That was always the thing we did. We had a list that said, put down the schools that you're going to or the summer places you're going to, and let us know. And if you don't have a place, we will get you connected. Depends on the coach's philosophy on if they still want to, send guys out or whatnot. But I always thought that was very important from when I was a college coach, was like, especially my red shirt dudes, is like, you got to get out there and you got to get playing, just because you're not going to get many reps on the spring here. You'll get your reps in air squads, but you need those game reps. So we'll send you out that way. And being on the opposite side of stuff, like coaching a summer ball team, that's really the exact thing that I'm looking to do, is to give them those reps and opportunities that they didn't have. Or even if you were a starter for your university or JUCO, like still giving those just additional reps. And it's fun traveling around, really. That's one of the biggest things, is like whether you come to Kansas 1 year or the year before you're, in Arizona or Canada, anything like that, just experiencing different parts of the world, but development is one of the most key things on my side of stuff. And I know Pastor Pete's in here, and for me, it's talking about faith with guys and just, demonstrating that, because some dudes don't see their coaches proclaim faith. I know that wasn't really something I saw on my coach's side of stuff when I played, and that was the thing that's really important for me. And he was a blessing to come speak with us, because when I was at OPSU, I did FCA stuff and talked about bringing in a lot of people who spoke about their faith in Christ. And he's been a real blessing for us to come in, and Coach Sean, connected me with him, and he jumped on board and started talking to our guys. And then after that, he started showing up, and most players don't see that type of stuff just because you're only a college athlete for 4 years, really, but what you do after, that's really important. And that was one of my biggest things. So make you better while you're still here as far as athletically, but preparing you for the future and just helping you hear the gospel is one of the most important things for me, is what you do next off of that. So, because I'm not coaching college baseball anymore, so there's a lot bigger things that are going on than just that. So that's my philosophy.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. It just kind of resonates and also kind of echoes what we were talking about before you were able to get on. So just kind of reaffirms that, which I think's awesome. Tell us a little bit about Valley Center. Talk to the community a little bit. We've obviously been in that community, now moved here, so I think that for me, I think is really cool. When I started trying to quote unquote like revamp the way that we were trying to run these systems for the KCLB, and tried to put things in place to where it was more than just one summer at a time, right? One of my big things was I want to try and find guys that want to coach these organizations for a long time frame, right? And money is always a topic of that discussion. It's always got to be something that's we have to find ways to pay our guys. Like, you're not going to get quality individuals if we don't. But we also have to live within our means, because we don't want to turn this in and all of a sudden it's not affordable for people to be able to do it. So there's just this big balancing act that has to happen for us to be, one, competitive, but two, affordable. And then, my goal was to always find people that could be here for a longer time frame. And, you are now the longest tenured coach that I have, connected to me in the lineage here, which I think's awesome. So talk to that a little bit, what and how did that kind of develop, and, talk about Valley Center and the community that we have there.
Well, Valley Center's always been great since I, first got here, and it's a quiet little community, and definitely, like, I think it's just got a good little draw to it, just the way it is, and just being a little bit outside of Wichita, not being, exactly in the city, but you can, get there real easily. And the people, like, when I got there, as soon as I started getting involved with host families or anyone, like, and when we actually have a chance to talk to them more about, like, who we are and what we do, like, they always love that idea. And just slowly over my time since I've been here, more and more people have heard about it and come in and supported us. And the Hive Bar sponsored, obviously, one of our jerseys after new owners took
The Hive.
over. And
Shout out the Hive.
Oh, the Hive.
They jumped in and helped us out on that, just because we needed a new set of jerseys. And obviously talk about financial side of stuff. I mean, like, we've been slowly getting more support, and as far as keeping me around when I was a college coach, like, one of the things they tell you is pays awful and hours are worse. So, like, you're not getting paid much and you put in a lot of effort in there. And I've just really enjoyed it since got here. It's a great field, great facilities that are out there. And one of the biggest draws for a lot of players is like, oh, I don't have to do field work. I don't have to worry about, maintaining this thing. So it's really nice. It's got a good atmosphere to it. And every guy who's ever came in here, they've always enjoyed it. So, I mean, Valley Center's just, since I've been here and fortunate enough, it just keeps growing and growing. And I think it'll just keep on progressing in that direction.
Absolutely. I'm just curious, Chris, over the course of the 4 years, why do you think the culture shift has allowed you to keep players returning? I mean, one of the key things is returning players to the roster and things like that through their development and trusting you with their athletics. Um, with that culture change, why do you think that's helped you with retaining players?
I guess they like our staff for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but I think that's why
No.
they keep coming back. Is
Just give it all to the other guys. I got you.
Sean's hair.
Yeah.
as
They wanted to see if it got longer this year.
as a
Apple
player,
spontaneity.
Yeah.
as a player, you like some players like jumping around or seeing what's new, really. But there's always guys who like you find something you enjoy and you like, and you have some rapport with it. Like you go back to where you feel comfortable. You feel like you'll be taken care of and all that stuff. And I think that's a big reason why is just because they know we'll take care of them, we'll love them and help them. And I think a big thing too is coming in the faith-based stuff, really, because I mean, every time I recruit guys, I always pray about this coming back. Like whoever's coming back or new guys is like God wants them to be here and place them here, and just that's part of the culture side of that stuff, really, because any place that I've been that's been good, like Valley Center or anything, I prayed about it before I made a move. And if I didn't, usually it led to a dead end. So I think just knowing that you'll actually genuinely be taken care of and they care about you. And even if the guys who don't come back, I still keep up with them and text them here and there and be like, hey, congratulations and good job. So even if they don't come back, like that could be a reason why they do. But at the end of it, they're like, this person actually like, they should never need anything from me, but if they ever do, like they know they can reach out to me, Sean, Apple, Pete, all of you guys. Like they know you can do that. So that helps you as a player to feel comfortable to come back or anything like that. Because I had a guy who came back, like he played for me my second or so year, and then didn't play the year following that, and then came back last year. So like they're always can come back whenever they want.
Talk about your on the field and off the field progress. You were pretty you won the league, but not the tournament. And then the national tournament, you guys made a hard push. What are the thoughts on that? Because Sean's been taking the shots for the SBS stuff, so we want your take as the head coach.
Well, last year winning the league outright was a fun thing, and depends on how you look at winning a tournament, whether the KCLB or the Summer Ball Showdown's a tough thing to do because you just got to get hot at the right time and all that. I've always kind of thought winning a league outright is a lot tougher just because you're constantly playing against these guys day in and day out early. But not to say playing in a tournament's not tougher just because it takes one, 2 games and then you're out or something like that. The past 2 years, we finished in third place, I think, or around that area, or at least lost to the team that won it all. So 2 years ago was Tessa's Army, and last year was the Wellington Heat, really. So maybe that speaks a little bit of what we could have done. But it's just always like every year, just depends on the type of guys that you bring in, who gets hot at the right time, and who continues to develop and all that. A lot of times my teams, when like at the end of the year, like usually we're trying to, get on fire, and sometimes like it just doesn't happen that way, really. It's really just tough to win a tournament at the end of the year. Especially in the Summer Ball Showdown when you could possibly be playing 7 games or something like that. Depends on the depth of the pitching and depends on, 1 or 2 calls going your way and how you persevere from that. So it's kind of my take on it.
How do you run your staff? So the one thing that I always hear about Valley Center, especially from returners, but also other coaches, because you guys get, I think, from probably the most referral base, from different college coaches wanting to send guys to you guys as a staff. How do you do that? That's your system or a little bit different? Because the one common thing that I always hear from college coaches is, yeah, we want to send this guy to Valley because that's ran like a college program. And I think that that's, a compliment. So like put a little insight in there, right? Like, what do you do that's a little bit different, or how do you do it for the person that has no idea? Because you guys do run it a little bit different than some of the other teams in the league.
I think it's just having good rapport with either my past connections or ones that I get from the recruiting world, and calling them on the phone and talking to them and just kind of explaining how I do those things. And I mean, from a college coach perspective and you're sending a guy to another college or a summer team, you're like, okay, that's how I would operate it, really. Or also communicating with them, like, how do you guys handle this dude? Or, like, is he a starter? Is he a reliever, really? It's like, where's this guy on the field, really? Like, where do you project him in the future? So it's just like, tell me what you want and I'll basically do it, really. So that only benefits that guy and it benefits you as a team. So college coaches feel comfortable with that, really. Like, I've seen some coaches or heard some, like, other leagues or whatnot. Like, I've seen a guy who was supposed to be a starting shortstop for a dude, and the team had him playing catcher for whatever reason. Like, it's like, why is he doing this? Or, like, as a pitching staff, like, we monitor, what's their pitch count like, really. Like, early in the summer, we're not throwing them 120 pitches, really. And even in the depths of it, we're still not doing that, just because as a college coach, they'll be like, why are you throwing my dude, like, wearing his arm out for the fall? So we basically acknowledge them as, like, if you have an innings count, pitching count, or pitches count, anything like that, like, we'll take care of your guys. Tell me what you want. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I talked to my alma mater at Sul Ross, their new pitching coach, the other day, and we were talking about, like, how they operate their dudes and how they develop their guys. And, like, they have exit meetings this week, and they'll send me some dudes following or so after that, really. But I never talked to that dude before, just got his number and called him up, and we talked for about 30 minutes or so. And, like, he was like, yeah, feel good about it. And, like, how it sounds. Is like, we'll find you some dudes, really. So just creating some good rapport and all that is why they feel comfortable sending it off. And also, I tell every coach too, it's like, I'm not going to let your guys get poached. If Wichita State goes, who's this dude? I'll be like, he's taken. Like, that's not how it works. And I tell my players too, if you are going to leave, you have to enter the transfer portal before I do anything for you. I will be a brick wall between you and that coach. So, like, that helps them feel better too, really, because I was talking to a recruit of mine that he committed to St. Peter's up in New Jersey area, and that was the thing his coach was kind of talking about. I was like, well, how's that work? And I'm like, well, like, I'm not going to let that happen. I know he's far away from you, but, like, just feel comfortable. I'll take care of your guys, because the whole goal is you to get him back to be better for you. That's what you want to hear as a college coach, really, because it's like, I'm sending you off only for 2 months, and now you'll be back with me for the next 9 or 10. So I want those 2 months to be productive.
If I could
Love that.
toot the staff horn over there at Valley Center for a minute. So, like, midway through the season, Valley Center wasn't looking very good. and to come, well, I mean, just in their wins losses, it was upside down. And to come and win the regular season, there was this moment of, like, I guess we'll call it the come to Jesus meeting, but this speaks highly of the three coaches. Because it really was like this, okay, guys, so this is what's going on. This is not impossible. We can do this. And so I think it goes back to the way that Chris runs his staff, with this family mentality. And when those kids kind of catch wind of that, like, because we see it every season that the teams start to digress towards about halfway. Guys are angry because they're not playing, or they got tired of getting shut out by the Daubs or whatever it is. And so you see these teams start to fight a little bit more. And I've seen Chris and Apple and Sean as well just pull these guys aside and be like, hey, let's just get our heads back in the game, because we can do this. And so, I mean, it just goes to show what it looks like on the field and off the field. I mean, there's this constant conversation going on. So
Yeah, I love it, because like I said, you guys are kind of that poster child from a recruiting aspect and then a coach's aspect, to where, we want to showcase the things that are happening there, because you guys keep the teams together. I think for probably 2 years running now, maybe even 3 years, you guys have about the lowest attrition rate during the summer, which is an epidemic with collegiate summer baseball, and commitment levels from guys and that type of stuff. So the same thing Pastor Pete's saying, like, the players are bought into you guys for the summer for the most part. It's not a perfect system. It doesn't always work for everybody, right? Like, we still have some people that don't end up finishing, but the vast numbers want to be there with you guys, and they show that. And they, you don't have off-field issues. We don't, not many, like little things. They're still kids at the end of the day. Like we got our own, everybody's got their own little bits, but nothing major, like no major problems. And that again attests to the ship that you're steering, and that's a cool thing. It's fun to watch that develop because that's gotten better, pretty much year after year after year, to where we've fallen into this, like consistency of that routine, and that stuff it's awesome to watch it develop. But my next question, and this one's, be careful how you answer this one because there's feelings involved, but how does it feel to start out with every single rostering, like every single recruiting season, to have just a dynamic arm available for you at any given moment, any given game, any given time in Sean Cutler? Like, how does that give you just solace to sleep at night, knowing that he is on your pitching rotation at any given time?
Well, he's always the secret weapon if we have to bring him out. And last year, just we were fortunate enough with the staff that we didn't have to do that to the other teams.
I think he is a
buck
little
him out.
upset about that still, just FYI.
You-
He's still bugging
There's
about that
rage
one.
behind those eyes that he didn't get an opportunity. And the one time he did come save the game, it wasn't recorded for him.
Oh, which one? Which one was
Yeah,
that?
it was
That was at
last year?
GSC 2 years ago.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it was-
no, yeah. Last
It was
season
the
when I got
KCLB
my win, and
GSC night. Yeah.
I got a win, and it got given to somebody else, which is ridiculous. But
Kind of pushing your eligibility anyway.
well, I
What are you, like 30?
I have plenty of eligibility left. No, I think Chris, he's always not willing to give me my light to shine. It's fine. I mean, I understand. I'm a coach. I'm not a player, but
I just can't.
I will never forget when I opened up the roster and I saw that he had manually put his name in as the first player. Like he did all of that. I was dying laughing. Like we wouldn't notice. That was funny. That was good.
I think
just
he
trying
gave
to fill up
himself
the
5
roster,
stars
just
as
in
well.
case.
Yeah. Yep. Best recruit ever. That's
Can't be
great.
said, hey, all I gotta say is stats don't lie, man.
There you go.
Stats don't lie.
Hey, he's riding high. Well, talk to we can kind of turn it over a little bit to Sean as well too, and get some perspective there. Obviously, Apple's not on with us, but Sean, what's it been like for you to obviously be underneath the coaching tree with Chris? From your perspective, kind of seeing how he operates his system with the guys. What's been things that you've learned, things that have really kind of stood out to you that have helped you kind of develop farther along in your, young coaching career?
Yeah. I think when it comes to coaching a collegiate team, it's obviously a little bit different beast than what I was used to coming in. I had coached junior high and high school baseball for 3 years before that, where there was still like I was the assistant for the high school team and then the head coach for junior high. So there's a clear line between me and the players, even though at high school there was one of the players, my brother, which blurred the lines a little bit. But so that first year with Valley, I think as the assistant coach, trying to find the line between me being 23 at the time and a lot of these players being 19, 20, 21, trying to find the line between coach and pal, I guess. Because assistant coach, you have a little more leeway with being a little closer to the players, as opposed to being kind of the a-hole coach or whatever you want to call it, like Chris is. I'm just kidding. But I think watching Chris kind of operate and then obviously spend a lot of time with him, reviewing lineups or, post-game talks when, we're trying to go over what we need to do or what this or that, because, a lot of times I was broke and I had to ride to games with Chris. But learning from him as to how to kind of draw that line a little bit more between you and the players as a coach, because that's really important. You don't want to cross that boundary too much, because then the lines get blurred, whether you are their friend or their coach. And you do have to be a coach first always, because they need somebody who, yes, they can trust, but somebody they can respect and listen to and follow. So I think with that, I think our roles as a coaching staff kind of got carved out too over the last few years growing together. Chris is obviously it's almost like a GM bench coach role. I would kind of describe it as, he stays in the dugout to make sure, that kind of, just like if you look at all the MLB coaching staff, you have the manager who's kind of managing the in-game things, but you have the bench coach, the veteran who's sitting behind, making sure everything's running smoothly. So I kind of see Chris as that, and obviously he sets up the majority of the recruiting as well. And then Apple's our high IQ guy. He knows the game inside and out, much better than me. And so he's our third base coach, kind of running the game for us, and trying to give us the best chance to win ultimately. And then I see myself as more of the vibes guy, where I'm not a buddy kind of coach, but I'm a relationship guy. So yes, I'm a first base coach. I'm doing my job over there, and then I'm also just making sure that I'm checking in with players throughout the game, just whether they're playing, whether they're not, just making sure they're doing well. After giving them feedback on their IBs, because I got to get a little perspective over there at first base, watching their IBs as well, and then like pitchers or whatnot, just being able to kind of bounce around to each player. So I think Chris is kind of established, and still kind of let it also naturally kind of foster a good dichotomy of a coaching staff where we all kind of have our roles where we can kind of thrive in our personal roles, and we don't have to try and overstep each other or do too much, so we can all kind of move forward as one, where that doesn't put a lot of confusion with the players. And obviously players still have questions. Players want to play more here, there, whatever, but that's always going to happen. But we do a good job of the communication between us and them. And ultimately in-game decisions are still, Chris is still making the in-game decisions, final answer, but there's still a lot of discussion and involvement between all of us. So it's fun. It's a fun little group. And I think it operates well over the course of a full season too.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think that goes, kind of to the topic when I asked the question ahead of time. That insight and Chris's really is what's separating in my brain, Valley Center's staff and the day-to-day operations from a lot of other teams that are out there, right? Like, and I think like just seeing all of them work in conjunction with each other and having that kind of flow between all of them with the players, and it just runs, it's a well-oiled machine. It runs very well, and things happen, and then you guys kind of let the baseball be the baseball. And I think that that's what's helping a lot of these players develop, and I think that that's why you guys are having the success that you're having. So now we just need to get over the hump, right? And we need to,
Do some winning.
obviously we got to get an SBS title to come home, but things, have a league title under their belts, so that's a good thing. But you guys have knocked on the door on the league title plenty of different times, and you guys are in the mix with that, pretty consistently. But that national title is, sitting on the shoulder and whispering in your ear. So we got to find a way to get that one done, because you guys, in my brain, this last year, I thought that you guys had the highest favorited chance to probably win the whole thing, just based off of bullpen, how the matches ended up kind of setting up for you guys. So, we don't have to revisit that. We revisited it enough.
I'll go into that just a bit,
Okay.
and maybe like I think we will talk about that just a little bit, and I'll let Chris go into it too. With the postseason struggles we've had, I'll say, I think still like I think struggles is kind of a harsh word, but ultimately, if you don't win at all, you did it, you lost. So, but you look at. I think yes, our roster was built for that this year more times than any.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when it comes to a tournament, you have teams who if it wasn't for certain teams who come together right at the last moment and just get on fire, to play, because there's an element to that. I think there is, just
Sure.
with team, because Tessa's Army isn't a full summer team.
Right.
Right. And they're the ones who beat us 2 years ago when we were actually putting together a decent run, even though our second half of the season wasn't good. And that's a testament to our players really coming together and grinding, because it wasn't pretty. We were just winning games at that point, trying. And then this year we had the best team, in my opinion. We didn't win, but again, the Heat kind of had a last second come together and a spark with the right combination of skill, attitude, and confidence that I think 2 out of those 3 things kind of outweighed ours. And on sometimes on a hot summer afternoon on the turf, that wins out a little bit. So, but I think I'm always super proud of our guys, no matter what. And I'll always take as a coaching staff, I'll always take those losses on the chin. That's on us ultimately, because we still have to put our team in the best spot to succeed. And I think this year in the end of the season, we fell short on that. So
Yeah. Chris, anything to add?
Yeah, I completely agree with what he says. And just sometimes it's got to get hot at the right time, and sometimes you just got to play the game and play to win. You ain't first, you're last.
Yeah.
So Ricky Bobby right there. But
Yeah. I like
no,
it.
that's just how it is with the tournaments. Just get hot at the right time to see what happens, and one crucial call, either by changing a pitcher or whatnot, could affect the game. Just because when you get in playoff type of baseball, every little detail matters, and you can always second guess something and whatever happens really. But yeah, just getting over the hump, and that all comes down just fun thing about summer is, even though you have some of your returners, you have a brand new set of dudes really, and you don't know how exactly they'll play. On paper you can be like, this guy's gonna be good, this guy's gonna be this, and you just never know how it turns out. And that's kind of the fun thing, is every year's a reset. There's no dynasty per se, really. It's a reset, and you get out there, you coach them up, and you all play for some hardware going back to your schools. So just ultimately just playing the game right, playing it hard, and see how it rolls.
So you're entering year number 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So how has your experience at the Summer Ball Showdown gone as not just the tournament, but the feeling of it? I mean, you've been around long enough to watch it grow and bring more eyes on it. Just kind of give us an idea of when it's time to kick over to that. What's your mindset, and how have you liked the experience?
Well, it's definitely grown a lot since even my first year over here. Last year, I think those first couple of days was the most people I've ever seen. I maybe give it some credit for the weather was actually really nice. It wasn't 105 degrees out there, but it was really comfortable. But that was the
Amen to
most people
that.
I've seen out there. And the first 2 days are really cool, just because you got 4 fields that are being played on, and the 5th one's always kind of a fun event field. So you got people wandering around, it's making a lot of noise, and a lot of parents and family members come out to those games to, support, because that's the best time to do it, because you have a chance to watch your son play, a decent amount of games. And college coaches are out there. I'll see some of my connections just trying to be, hidden away, but they're, walking around. And if you weren't a player, if you weren't a coach or something, you wouldn't know that guy was out there. So you don't know who's watching you still, especially as a JUCO guy. But it's really grown a lot. It's been a fun event. And just seeing this kind of the atmosphere of people moving around is kind of what I like about it. That's kind of what guys notice at first. It's just oh, there's a lot of people actually out here, especially those first couple of games. And it helps makes those first 2 days really, especially if you don't know what it's like out there. And we didn't play at Genesis during those midweeks like we have in the past. So it's the first time guys have been even out at that field. So when you see that little complex, when I send them the address, they're like, I don't know what this field's like or what it's about. So you come out there and you see how much is going on, and kind of makes them a little bit more excited to, it's always fun to play in front of a lot of people, and that's what you want to do. And I think that's kind of just been a beneficial thing, and it's quality baseball out there, and playing. And cool thing is you can play at any time of the day, basically. It feels you always hope to not get that early start in the heat of the day. That's the one you want to avoid. As much as I don't want to play 11 o'clock game, really, it's definitely a lot cooler out there as far as temperature goes. And if you win those games, then you get a little break before the next one. But It's been a fun event. I know you guys have added additional, portable mounds that were out there really that were really quality and good for the guys really. So like those have been a huge improvement as those mounds that you guys got. So that helps out quite a bit.
Yeah, so Pete had mentioned this a little bit right before you got on, Chris, and I'll let him talk about it first, and then I want you to maybe shed some light on that as well. But so Pete had mentioned that, and he's been involved now basically 2.5, 3-ish years with the team. So, and you mentioned like last year you felt went a little bit better than this year. So I'll let you speak about that, and then Chris, after he's done, kind of talk about what has been kind of your favorite year so far of coaching. All right.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest parts is at May 31st, you get 30 new names and 30 new faces, unless you get, like I think we had maybe three or four returners this year. So then you get 30 people that you've got to learn who they are. And some of them come as brothers. Some of them come as they're not related at all, but they look exactly the same. They have the same name, that kind of stuff. And so I would say this year, I always I tell the guys, give me 2.5 weeks and I'll know who you are. Man, I struggled this year really hard. I think last year was a lot easier. And when you do that, when you learn their name, the relationship gets way deeper. And so for me, just that, I think that's the reason why I felt like this year wasn't as productive for me, because I struggled to get names down. And yeah, so I mean, that's the only reason for me that I thought it was. I thought we had good group times. The guys that came. We always start with a lot of guys that come to the Bible studies, and we usually lose, about, I don't know, an eighth of them by the end of the time or whatever. But yeah, for me, it was just the struggle of learning names and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we definitely
And
had guys who
Chris
looked
kind of,
similar. Nolan Lowell
yeah,
and
yeah.
some other dudes and the Hall brothers. Like there was a lot of guys. I was like, I still even at the end of it might have jacked their names up once or twice because it was like, you guys literally look very similar to each other. So I can't blame you.
yeah, Chris, kind of what has been your kind of favorite years so far? And obviously, no disservice to any of the years. I know I've loved every single year here, but what's kind of been, depending on whatever it might be, like what has been your favorite years coaching the Daubers so far?
It was really tough to figure out a favorite year per se, just because there could be different things. I know my first year was really fun just because it was all brand new to me and had really no idea too much of really about the league and what to think of and getting those guys together. And my first year, we were the opposite of these last couple of years. Like we were terrible in the first half, like trying to keep the team together and all that stuff. And we actually took them to Aqua Splash or whatever just to do a fun little team thing to get us going. And the second half of the season, we got a lot better and we got around third or so place. Really, I think we started the year like
You went on a
2-14.
tear.
What was that?
Yeah, you guys went on a tear your first year.
Mm-hmm. And the end of it, that was fun. We lost a lot of dudes at the end of that one. That was the only year I think I lost a decent amount of guys at the end, but it was still, that was fun just being the first year. I would say year 3, so the year before last year, I thought that one was a really fun team. That was the first year I think we started off super hot and did really well. But I know one of the biggest things is like I think that team chemistry on that team was better than I think I've had in the past, or all of them. I would put a little bit more. I remember one of the nice things is seeing as a team Tyson Jimenez get baptized at Glen Park with Pastor Pete, and that was something, honestly, to me is worth more than any win that I've ever had. And then last year, I would say is a favorite part of that is just the fact that we won the league outright, and like that was the best wins and losses we have ever had. And as far as I think talent wise, I think that was probably the best team that we had. So that's a favorite part of it. No offense to year 2, by no means off of that one. Sean's first year, I honestly trying to remember more of that one. Or was that? I'm trying to remember. They all blend together
Well,
at
with
some
Sean
point,
there,
honestly.
it was forgettable.
Yeah.
Yeah, year 2, yeah, I remember that was Sean's
you-
first year. Yeah, I remember that one. But and that team wasn't
And he's
too
like,
bad. So no offense to year 2, I guess. But they all blend
year
together.
year two, we lacked in some talent for sure. And then between injuries and guys leaving, we were bare bones at the end of the year, but we still went on a run in the tournament that year. And
was that the bounce? Was that the year of the bounce?
Oh, year 1 was
where
the
the
bounce against
cannons
the
hit?
cannons that knocked
was
us
year
out.
one.
That was year 1.
Year 2 was actually Sean's favorite year because he got the most innings that year.
actually, it was last year. Last year I got the most innings.
Year 3. Oh.
Yeah. But who's counting? Me, obviously.
He also hit guys in the knees so he could get in. So
you
was kinda
got to
cheating,
do what
but
you.
whatever.
They didn't know it was me. hitting
And
him in the
that's why
knees,
we
so-
don't do coaches fungos anymore.
Yeah, they didn't know it was me hitting him in the knees, so no harm, no foul. But yeah, I my first year was, it was cool because it was my first year, but definitely just between some I think some attitude issues we didn't address at the beginning of the season, and then also I think as a coach, I probably blurred the lines between being a coach and a buddy too much. Really cool group of guys, and there's some talent there, but super super raw for the most part, and just a lot of young dudes who were trying to play some baseball, and we couldn't get anything going until like literally the end of the year. We kind of sparked something up a little bit, but not a lot of arms. We literally played our last game in the SBS with 9 position players, and one of those position players was pitching. And then he got hurt, so then Apple had to go in and play first base because the rest of the guys on the bench we had like 3 POs on the bench, and so it was and we lost that game.
I'll never forget
Unfortunately.
him running down the first base line. I remember that like it was yesterday.
He ripped his jersey too.
Yeah.
Well, he made a great catch, but he ripped his jersey. Yeah, it was on the fence. He reached over, got the catch in it.
Button get they
just
all-
ripped his
yeah.
jersey.
Just an athlete.
Yeah,
Pure
Pure
athleticism.
athlete.
I love it. Well, Chris, what as we kind of start to wrap up here, like, what can, somebody tuning in, expect from you guys kind of moving forward? What's something that you're excited about maybe kind of moving forward? Give someone, something that is an exciting kind of future thing that you're working towards.
Just with us, we're always going to play the game the right way and have fun doing it and have good team chemistry. So we will never be a team that's a problematic team. It's one of those, like, just do things right. We like you guys and type of thing. And I think that's something I always can guarantee that's how they'll be. You always have some headaches here and there, but they always get taken care of. It's part of development for these guys. As far as just kind of what to expect with the team, really, you just never know how it's going to be put together and who's going to, join and do what. It's always the excitement of slowly, steadily, knock on wood. Like every year, my team gets a little better on some connections and players that come in, and the excitement of coming in and trying to win something before you go back to the fall. So trying to win this year the KCLB tournament, and then trying to get over the hump and not lose to the championship team, and just every year just being new group of guys. Even it's still 5th year doing this at Valley Center, it's like it's always fun bringing in new guys, seeing how they react, and just creating that camaraderie. And those, I always tell the guys, especially as players, is like this is some of your long lifelong friendships, really. Like I've had guys who I think it was from my first year, like from that first year's team, some of them invited each other to their weddings and all that stuff, really, like wanting them to, be involved in their lives, really. And I think that's the most important thing, is that group chat for the player side. I'm sure still active, or if not, anything gets a little bit smaller, but just, it's like, oh, you're my buddy who's from, Montana or Nebraska or something like that, and I'm from Texas or whatever. Like, just how that all works and how you come getting pieced together from all over the country is a cool thing. And that's one of the most exciting things, is just new group of guys, new group of opportunities going forward.
Yeah, I love it. Sean, what about you? Same question. What's something that you're looking forward to? I'm gonna ask all of you. So Pete, that's your heads up. But
Thank you for
uh,
putting me last.
yeah, what's something that you're kind of looking forward to as you're developing and obviously getting that experience under your belt? But especially in Valley Center, right? Like what is the what's on the horizon for you guys there?
I mean, hopefully win more games, but ultimately coaching is all about relationships. I tell, anybody that I work with, baseball wise, that I'm not reinventing the wheel when it comes to coaching you or instructing you or anything like that. No, it's how well can I communicate what we need to get better on, how we need to move forward. So I'm just looking forward to new relationships with guys, and building those and hopefully long lasting ones. And making them feel comfortable and giving them a place to develop. I think that's the fun part every year. I mean, we're so blessed. We get to go out, experience. I mean, especially after the winter being in here all the time, which I love being in here, but you don't get a lot of outside time,
Not much sunshine.
so you get to go out in the summer and you get to be outside and coach baseball, man. And it's high level baseball. And I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of high level guys we get back, what kind of returners we get back, seeing those guys again and embracing the grind of a season. And it's all about building those relationships, fostering a culture that guys are, going to improve in, because this is something that I really, I mean, I never really did till I think my last year heading into college. So, and it helped a lot. And I hope that just guys see the value in that. And I hope we give them a very holistic approach they're not going to get anywhere else. And by that, I just mean on the field, off the field, we're going to care for you no matter what. And we want to have you physically, spiritually, and ready to go for the fall when it comes time to do that.
I love it.
Mm.
All right, Pastor Pete, that one's a good one to follow up on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
tough to beat.
Yeah.
Also, Sean lives in my house. Just that takes him down a notch.
When's Rick
Whatever.
here?
Yeah.
I told you, ultimate host family
Yeah.
and super
Not a-
fan.
Yeah. So going back to 3 years ago, I can remember like when I became a pastor, I thought one of the coolest things was if I could be a pastor of a team, some kind of a sports team, And so when this opportunity came, I was like, dude, this is awesome. This is exactly what I want to do. And so the thing that I've learned over the last couple of seasons is that it's super hard to share the truth with these guys. And it shouldn't be, but it is, because they all come from a very different background, and one of the first things that we do when they come in is, if they come to the Bible studies, like, tell me, like, where do you come from? You Catholic, you Methodist, you Lutheran, Baptist, what are you? Let's just get this out in the open, So I would say that this year I'm excited about just being in more games. I'm really excited about buying a new bleacher seat with extra
Yeah, there you
padding,
go.
because you can only sit on the VC bleachers so many times. But yeah, just being in their space and build, like Sean said, building those relationships and trying to just become closer. I'm just like these guys. I have players that text me all the time, and so I want that to continue, and I just want to see more of that. And just give them hope, because these guys, they are struggling, and it sucks to watch it. But I remember what it was like. So if we can step in that place and show them hope, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, I definitely, appreciate all your guys' time, hopping on and sharing a little bit of insight into the Mud Daubers, and, ultimately what I think from listeners, if you're, still listening, the culture that's, being built here for these young men, and, and I think it shines a light on each of these guys, but then just also the community and, the things that they're trying to do for the community and for the team and for, everyone that they're getting the opportunity to come in contact with it's commendable, and it's definitely something that we want to try and, mimic and duplicate and keep kind of going across the league landscape, because it's a much bigger picture mentality than just winning and losing baseball games, right? And we've talked a little bit on like the KCLB podcast and stuff like that with just how we're doing things differently. how the teams are operating differently, and how things just are different with what we do. And, so this is one of those extension pieces of that, right? So this is something that, we believe highly in. There's a lot of value in this type of operation, and it can help people and change people's lives. And, it boils back into what we always talk about, which is that servant leadership and trying to do what we can do to give back to the people that are around us. And so I appreciate everybody for that. And I appreciate your guys's, honest, heartfelt give back for these guys, like your attitude towards it, and then being able to truly be there for them, because I've been one of these players. I know they're, not the exact stories and all of that, but I've been in their shoes. I've walked, in that path, and that's why, we're trying to do all the things that we're trying to do. And I know that you guys are kind of taking that up and working through that with us. So I appreciate that. And I think that that's a perfect segue into our final words with Sean here, and leading us in prayer as we kind of close this thing off. Chris, thanks for hopping on. Pastor Pete, thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys and everything that you're doing for the team.
All right. Lord, thank you for the gentleman in this room, and then Chris, who's not in this room, but, just thank you for what we got going on here, and making it all possible that we can coach a baseball team, and then be able to try and lead these young men towards you, and let them know that there's more than just baseball out there. There's more than just school out there. There's more than just relationships out there. There's a relationship with you out there that's more important than any of those other things, Lord. So I just pray as we continue on, and just pray for Chris to keep making connections on the recruiting trail, and bring us a whole new group of guys that, of course, I should probably be helping with, but, and just thank you for Pete and taking his time, not only pastoring a church, but helping pastor this team, and that we can just provide the best experience that honors and glorifies you, Lord, for the summer. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Well, that's it for episode 23, the Valley Center Mud Daubers, featuring Coach Chris Browning and Pastor Pete. Of course, Sean's with us all the time. So yeah, we'll see you guys next time, and thanks for joining us.